Hello, my name is Dayna Klein. I'm with the Fredericksburg Area Food Bank, and I'm here to get everyone inspired because together we can create a hunger-free community. One definition of inspire is to fill someone with the confidence and a desire to do something. In these next few minutes together, my goal is to fill you with information about hunger in our community and to inspire you to do something to help end hunger. Hunger is everywhere. In order to end hunger, we have to start somewhere, so we'll start with what we know. In our community, hunger is completely solvable. We do not need any special equipment, we do not need any scientific research, and we do not need any special funding. Together, we can create a hunger-free community. Ending hunger in our community does require us to work together. We have available food. We have the resources necessary to end hunger in our community, but only if we work together. I love food. My love affair with food began way back when I was a child, and I used to think of all the food that I would eat if I had enough money to buy my own food. I used to think of ways to hide food so it would be there when I was hungry, because that was not always the case when I was growing up. When I was a child, food was counted, portioned, and measured. My mom had this system to make my dad's once-a-month paycheck stretch to feed us the entire month. She worked really hard to make sure that we had enough food, but sometimes it just did not last. Our family was food insecure. We did not always know from where our next meal was coming, and we did not use public assistance. According to the 2014 Hunger in America study, in our community, there are over 30,300 hungry and food insecure residents. We're not talking about people that live far away or in another country. These are people that live in Stafford, Spotsylvania, Caroline, King George, and the city of Fredericksburg. Last year, over 17,900 of our students required free meal assistance through the schools, and 2,500 of our seniors had to get by on fixed incomes of less than $10,000 per year. These were our friends and neighbors. It was me, and for some in the audience today, it may be you. I never dreamed that one day I would work at a nonprofit, especially one that deals with food, but that's exactly what I do. I am the Major Gifts and Grants Manager for the Fredericksburg Area Food Bank, and during the last 4 years, I've learned a few things that I would like to share. Waste is high. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, over 31% of the food that is available in supermarkets, in restaurants, and in your home is wasted. If we want to end hunger in our community, we need to find ways to reduce the amount of wasted food and recover that wholesome food for distribution to those in need. We don't use all of the food that we have. As food production has increased, or as technology has increased, food production has also increased. With this increased food production, consumers, you and I, began demanding more open clues as to the freshness of the food that we were purchasing. That began food dating. Did you know that before the early 1970s, we did not have food dating, and we lived? According to Harvard's Food Law and Policy Clinic, over 90% of Americans may be prematurely tossing food because we misinterpret or misunderstand food dating information. With the exception of medication, baby food, and certain perishable items, product dating is not regulated or is not required by federal regulations. What that means is that because food dating is not regulated by the federal government, it could be argued that it's in the manufacturer's best interest to put a short sell-by or use-by dates on the food. This short use-by date could convince you and I to take perfectly good food and toss it in order to purchase new food. Sell-before dates are designed for the manufacturer. It lets the manufacturer know how much shelf time a product has. It is not designed for the consumer, nor does it indicate that the food is bad. Best before and use by dates are designed for the consumer. Best before and use by dates allow the consumer to know, or are designed to give the consumer information about the manufacturer's suggested best before or used by date. Understand that best before and used by dates are not regulated, so these suggested dates for this food do not mean that the food is bad. So understand that best before and used by dates, being suggested dates, do not mean that you will die if you eat after this date. So what do you do if you have all this available food at home that you just decided that you need to get rid of? Or what if your garden has produced more zucchini than you could ever eat? Look to the food bank. There are 7 food banks that provide for the entire state of Virginia. We're all part of the Federation of Virginia Food Banks, and we're all overseen by by Feeding America, which is the largest domestic hunger relief organization in the United States. There is a difference between a food bank and a food pantry. A food bank is a receiving and distribution point for large quantities of unsold, donated, and USDA food. The 200-plus food banks that provide for the United States reclaim billions of pounds of food each year that might otherwise go to waste. The food banks, in turn, have partner agency pantries. These pantries come to the food bank to get the food they need to stock their shelves. At the Fredericksburg Area Food Bank, we have 74 partner agency pantries. Through collaboration with our partner agency pantries, the food bank provides the food to the pantries, and the pantries, in turn, are the local touch in the community, providing food to the hungry of that community. That way, someone who is hungry in Stafford can visit a pantry in Stafford. Someone who is hungry in Spotsylvania can visit a pantry in Spotsylvania. Someone in Caroline, King George, the city of Fredericksburg, and so on. The food bank is a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to feed the hungry through a community-wide network of partner agencies and to engage our community in the fight to end hunger. Besides receiving community donations, the food bank also receives merchant donations. All merchants must rotate stock. This rotation of stock, or it used to be that when merchants, excuse me, it used to be when merchants had food that was no longer available for sale, they would take the food off of those shelves and destroy it. With the rotation of, or Enter Feeding America, with this rotation of stock, when the food banks, or when the merchants can no longer sell this food, Feeding America encourages the food, or the merchant to, pardon me. All merchants must rotate stock. In order to ensure food safety, this rotation of stock makes sure that the food that is being produced on those store shelves is of adequate availability for freshness for the consumers. The rotation of perishable items such as bread, meat, and produce is shorter than the rotation of non-perishable items such as canned food, packaged foods, and toiletries, but all merchants must rotate their stock to make room for new product. Enter Feeding America. Feeding America brokers contracts on behalf of all food banks to reclaim stock that merchants might otherwise get rid of. Feeding America, through the nationwide network, Feeding America brokers those contracts with the merchants so that as the merchant donates to the food bank, the merchant can rotate stock and the food bank receives wholesome food and the merchant will receive a valuable donation receipt to account for the loss of sale. Some thoughts. Before I came to the food bank, I used to think of the food bank as a sad place with sad people giving out food that nobody else wanted. That is not true. Knowing that the doors are open and that food is being provided to the community gives the work of our volunteers and the food bank a certain sense of purpose. Before food can go out into the community, it must be collected, weighed, sorted, and code dated for product sourcing through regulations set forth by the Virginia Department of Agriculture and the Food and Drug Administration. Last year, it took over 17,000 volunteer hours to collect, sort, and distribute 3.5 million pounds of food back to the hungry of our community. It is a challenge, but it's a challenge our volunteers and our community support. Because the food bank does not receive any federal or state funding, we rely on donations, grants, and the shared maintenance of our partner agency pantries. Each one of our partner agency pantries enter into agreements with the food bank to share in the food distribution program and to never, ever charge the hungry for food. What this means is that, or shared maintenance is an IRS defined term, and what that means is that it's the fee received on a per pound basis to recoup a portion of the food bank's costs of food industry donated food. Depending on the type of shared maintenance, or depending on the type of food selected by our partner agency pantries, the shared maintenance fee can range from free to our cost. Non-perishable items will go out to our partner agency pantries at a shared maintenance fee of 19 cents per pound. Perishable items such as bread, milk, and meat go out free of cost, and we never charge for any USDA government commodities. Just to give you an example of what one pantry received during 1 month from the Fredericksburg Area Food Bank. For this 1 month, this pantry received 16,300 pounds of food. Of that amount, almost 10,000 pounds of food went out with no shared maintenance, meaning it was free of charge. The food was gathered, sorted, collected at the food bank, and it went out free, no revenue for the food bank. For this 1 month, the same partner agency received over 2,300 pounds of non-perishable food at a shared maintenance fee of 19 cents per pound. I challenge you to shop at any retail store and pay 19 cents per pound and no sales tax. We do not charge any USDA government commodities. This pantry did receive government commodities, again, free of charge, no revenue for the food bank. Now, at the food bank, we also provide what is called our purchase program. And with our purchase program, the 10 most requested items are resourced through a vast network of manufacturers. The food bank keeps these 10 most requested items on hand to allow our partner agencies to choose to purchase that product at our cost. This avoids our partner agencies having to pay retail for these items. Oops. Pardon me. This partner agency chose to participate in the purchase program, and they received 4,000 pounds at the Fredericksburg Area Food Bank cost. Again, it accounts for 88% of the revenue of the cost incurred by this food pantry. However, with this food going out, it did not generate any revenue for the food bank. At the food bank, we try to provide our partner agencies with as many choices as possible to meet the needs of the hungry of our community, but this will not happen without your help. Get inspired. Look to food dating as a tool and not a death sentence. Look for ways to reduce waste in your own home, and work together to come to the food bank to volunteer food, funds, and time, because together we can create a hunger-free community. We are your food bank. We invite you to join us in this fight, as together we do create a hunger-free community. Thank you.